How's it going, guys? Vapav here and welcome back to another video. So in today's video we're talking about the Apple iPhone SE 2020 edition. So it's been rumored for quite some time now and it's finally gone official as of yesterday. Now people are saying it's sort of the best smartphone for the year. I'm not gonna go as far as saying that, but it definitely brings a lot of value to the table, especially priced at 1,699 dirhams or $399, depending on which region you're in. Now, if you look at the press release from Apple themselves, it's got a powerful new smartphone in a popular design. That's what they're calling the iPhone SE. In terms of design though, it's a very familiar one, sort of borrowed from the iPhone 6 and 6S. People expected the design to be that of the iPhone 5S series, the chunkier, more boxy type, but I guess this design goes as well. And one of the key factors why this iPhone is so affordable is because of its design. I'm pretty sure Apple is reusing a lot of components in this design, but if you go ahead and look at the bottom, it's got a 4.7-inch display. It's a Retina HD display, which I think is one of the biggest sacrifices on the phone, but in terms of actual build quality, we're looking at some pretty good stuff. So aerospace grade aluminum and durable glass design. There is no word of whether or not the glass is Gorilla Glass protected or any sort of scratch resistant glass. I'm pretty sure it won't be at this price, but again, that's the sacrifice you make. Now in terms of actual display quality, you get both True Tone HDR10 playback as well as haptic touch. So with the inception of the iPhone SE, the iPhone 8 and 8 Plus are now finally gone, which means 3D touch is finally gone from the Apple ecosystem, replaced completely by haptic touch. Apart from that, you look at the front screen, it's got a black bezel this time around. I remember the iPhone SE from previous generations having the white bezel, especially coupled with this red color. So the black and red color is a great look in my opinion, but of course you've got no notch. This is a very thick bezel around the phone. There's no Face ID, but the Touch ID that the phone is using is supposed to be improved. So that's how you're gonna get your biometric authentication. But aside from that, if you scroll down, this is one of the biggest factors you should buy this phone. So the A13 Bionic chipset is exactly the same chipset found on the iPhone 11, the iPhone 11 Pro, and the iPhone 11 Pro Max. So in terms of power, this thing is packing the exact same power as the flagships. Not only that, if you scroll up, you also get IP67 water and dust resistance, which is something you rarely see on a smartphone priced at $399. So props to Apple for including this feature onto the iPhone SE as well. Now, as far as the A13 Bionic chipset goes, I think it'll be coupled with 3 GB of RAM. There's no official word from Apple on this, but if you go ahead and look at this website where the iPhone SE is supposedly on sale in China, you see that the RAM amount is 3 GB, which I think is plenty for an iPhone in 2020. It's going to deliver some great power. It has the latest connectivity stuff, so we're looking at Wi-Fi 6. Of course, no 5G support, but that's not even on the iPhone 11 series. So I think in terms of connectivity with Wi-Fi, you're looking at some pretty good features. You're also looking at some pretty power-packed processing, so you can play your favorite games. I don't know if the screen would accommodate for games that you'd like to play, things like FPS games, for example PUBG or Fortnite. I think the screen real estate would be a limiting factor, but nonetheless you can still run all of this perfectly on the smartphone. The other big change on the iPhone SE is the camera. So supposedly the camera on it is the exact same camera found on the iPhone 11 and the iPhone 11 Pro. So it's got the 12 megapixel f1.8 sensor with optical image stabilization. It's just a single sensor, so nothing too fancy. It's the wide angle lens, but you'll be able to benefit from Apple's photo processing, and it does all of your stuff. So it takes portraits, it takes portrait selfies as well. The selfie camera is not the 12 megapixel one, it's the 7 megapixel one. So I think that's the older generation selfie camera found from, I think, the iPhone 8 and even the iPhone 10 series, if I'm not mistaken, something like that. So in terms of selfie, you're not looking at a 12 megapixel camera, but the fact that this thing has a single 12 megapixel camera that's borrowed from the iPhone 11 Pro and the iPhone 11 Pro Max, as well as the iPhone series in general, is just a big thing. Now, in terms of how good the camera quality is, I can't tell, I don't have the phone, but we're looking at even 4K 60 FPS video recording. So as far as we're looking from samples and as far as we're going from sort of this press release, it looks to be a powerful camera, and I cannot wait to try it out. Now, in terms of special features like night mode and telephoto, so zooming into stuff, it's not going to have that. It's not going to have any type of zoom sort of support, nor will it have a night mode. So that might be a drawback for a few people who would like to use those features and maybe want to sort of take advantage of the iPhone's processing in that regard, but you won't find that with the iPhone SE, and that could be one of the drawbacks as well. But aside from that, I think all that remains is talking about the battery, and I think that's where the major concern for me lies as well. So if you go back to this specification page, it's not actually mentioned officially on the Apple website, but the specification page says that the battery on the iPhone SE will be a 1821 milliamp hour capacity. Now, on paper, that sounds very, very small, and that might be because it has a very small screen at 4.7 inches, especially coupled with the A13 Bionic CPU's enhancements in terms of power saving. But remember, when the iPhone 11 series came out, Apple was only able to improve the battery life on their iPhone 11 series once they bumped up the size of the battery. So with a small 1821 milliamp hour cell on the battery, I think battery life will be a bit of a hit or a miss, or until I actually get my hands on the unit, I cannot comment in a very, very specific manner. The battery will support fast charging, so 50% charging in 30 minutes of charge, which is great to see, but the power source that's provided out of the box will be the 5-watt one and not the faster one that we see with the iPhone 11 Pro and 11 Pro Max. So I think that's pretty much standard to Apple protocol. This phone does come with wireless charging support as well, so that's another plus point on many budget Android smartphones priced in this category. And I think this leads nicely over to the fact that what would you buy if you were given a choice between the OnePlus 8, for example, and the iPhone SE 2020. So I think the iPhone SE 2020 is for those people who like a lot of features and don't necessarily care much about the screen. So in terms of power, it's power packed. In terms of specifications, you're looking at a great sort of arsenal. You're looking at IP67 certification, you're looking at wireless charging, both of which are not found on the OnePlus 8 series. But the advantage the OnePlus 8 series has is that it's a more futuristic design. It's a better looking phone, arguably. It's got a much better 90Hz Full HD Plus panel, and it's got the customization of Android. Of course, with the iPhone SE, you're looking at iOS 13, so you're going to be restricted to this ecosystem, which for some might be good, but for some might not be that good. The OnePlus 8 also brings specific enhancements like, for example, optimization when gaming. All of that stuff is not really present on the iPhone SE, but it has the A13 Bionic chipset, which has proven to be one of the best chipsets on a smartphone ever. It still competes with the likes of the Snapdragon 865 octa-core processor on the Android side of the world. And yeah, I think it's a very difficult choice. As far as the overall smartphone goes, if you're looking for a cheap iPhone, I think everyone's gonna buy this at $399. If there's someone who can't really switch from an older iPhone to a newer Android, more affordable Android phone, and maybe they have older iPhones that already support wireless charging, going to an Android phone that doesn't support wireless charging could be sort of a downgrade, and the prime choice for them would be the iPhone SE 2020. Sorry about that. But yeah, I think that about sums up the iPhone SE in a nutshell. I think it's gonna sell very much so like hotcakes. Like, everyone's gonna be at it for $400, especially when you're getting the optimization of Apple, getting the specification set from Apple, and the brand value. I mean, when you pull out an iPhone, it just has a different impact overall in the public, as opposed to pulling out a OnePlus or a Realme phone or an Oppo phone, and that's just been the case. It's been the case for the past couple of years, and it's going to take a while to change that. There are 3 colors for the iPhone SE, as you can see: red, white, and black. I'm particularly leaning towards the red variant, and all the proceeds for the red variant actually go to support a good cause in providing donations for COVID-19. So that's obviously a great cause as well. And yeah, let me know what you guys think about the iPhone SE down in the comments below. Are you looking to buy one, or will you go for an Android offering of similar specifications and sacrifice on things like IP67 and wireless charging? Let me know in the comments down below. Make sure to subscribe for more videos, and thanks for watching. This was Vaibhav, and I'll see you in the next one. Adios.